You're listening to Radio Iran.
It's a revolution!
Radio Iran. KIRN. Radio Iran. Radio Iran.
مدیران و کارکنان رادیو ایران KIRN هیچ گونه مسئولیتی در مقابل سخنان کارشناس شرکت کننده در این برنامه را ندارند. هزینه این برنامه توسط کارشناس شرکت کننده پرداخت شده است.
همبستگی با ادیان
با دکتر صادق نمازی‌خواه.
دوستان عزیز سلام عرض می کنم. امیدوارم که سال نو بر همه شما مبارک باشه و این سال فرخنده رو به خوبی آغاز کرده باشید و سراسر این سال و سالهای عادی خداوند بهترین ها رو به شما عطا کنه. امروز برنامه من یک کمی متفاوت خواهد بود، برای اینکه 3 نفر مهمان دارم که هر 3 اونها توسط تلفن با ما صحبت میکنن. در ضمن از فرصت استفاده میکنم به دوست و برادر عزیزم آقای دکتر مرادراد و برادران عزیزش بهزاد و دیوید مسرور صمیمانه تسلیت میگم به خاطر درگذشته مادر عزیزشون که واقعا خیلی من به شخصشون علاقه من بودم. I would like to thank all of the audience that they are listening to my program. The program, as usual, will be in the English language, and I wish Happy New Year to all of the Iranian and all of the Farsi-speaking and those who celebrate the Nowruz, which is the beginning of the spring and the beginning of the new year in the Iranian community. The program that we have today, following what happened in New Zealand, the tens of the people were massacred by a maniac in New Zealand mosque, actually in 2 mosques, and caused a lot of question and raised a lot of question about the xenophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, and all of the hate that is growing around the world and against and turns the people against each other. For this program, I have Rabbi Chaim Beliak from a Jewish one and brother Stephen Gilliland from the Church of Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saint, and also Salam al-Miryati, the president of the Muslim Public Affairs Council. They will be online with me. You can listen to the program from your radio or you can watch it live on the YouTube. I will look right now. I see that I have Rabbi Beliak online. Rabbi, are you hearing me?
Yes, I can. And hello.
Hello. Please go ahead and tell us about yourself. I'm sure you have been in a program before, and my audience know your name, but tell us about your activity.
I'm Rabbi Chaim Dov Beliak. I'm involved with a number of projects in the Jewish community. Primarily these days I work with Friends of Jewish Renewal in Poland, and we're very active in fostering the life of Jews who are in Poland, some 100 to 200,000 people that are found in Poland. I also work with Skirball Hospice, which brings me into contact with a number of people who are in the end stages of their life. And finally, I have a little congregation in Studio City where we will host a special concert to benefit Friends of Jewish Renewal in Poland on April 14th.
And you are an important part of the Imams Festival of Unity.
Thank you. I feel that. I have been privileged to speak at the Cultural Center, and I think it's a very important activity. I have an ongoing interest in the study of Islam. My rabbinic dissertation is actually about a Jewish community that was in North Africa. So it's not a Parsi community, but it is a Muslim community that was part of North Africa. I'm married and I have 3 lovely children, 7 grandchildren, a beautiful wife who is doing the driving while I'm talking, and we're just returning from a wedding, big family wedding, last night in Phoenix.
Welcome back. Okay, Brother Steve Gilliland, would you tell us about yourself? Steve Gilliland, are you online?
You hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you tell us about yourself?
Yes, I am the Director of Muslim Relations for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints here in Southern California. For the last 13, 14 years, my wife and I have been serving in this capacity, reaching out to building bridges to Muslims, building friendships, and trying to clear up misconceptions between the 2 religions and with the rest of the interfaith community.
Thank you. And Salam al-Miryati, can you tell us about your work?
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you, Dr. Namazika? Good to be on your show again and to talk to you and Steve and Chaim. I think our work is basically trying to show that American Muslims are part of the solution for a lot of these problems that are coming up, usually emanating from the foreign affairs issue. And we have to move away from the foreign lens and looking at Islam to an American lens and looking at Islam. And that means getting more American Muslim voices to counter the anti-Muslim tropes that we find and the stereotyping of Islam and Muslims in public affairs.
Thank you. Okay, I'm not sure that if you heard the beginning of the program. The title of the program is Xenophobia or Anti-Semitism, Islamophobia that's growing in the United States and around the world. Rabbi Beliak, I start with you again. What is your idea about this issue and how the Muslim, Jewish, and other people of the different race and religion should face this phenomena?
Well, I would begin first, Dr. Namazika, with, again, thanking you for inviting me to be on the program. And I would start with a definition. I think that I'm convinced on the basis of my reading and on the basis of a good deal of research that what we're seeing is to be defined as a problem of white ultranationalism. Yes, it does impact Jews. Yes, it does impact Muslims, and we call that anti-Semitism and Islamophobia. But I think ultimately the real source of this is the right-wing ultranationalism that I see quite prominently throughout Europe and especially in Poland. And of course, we see in America with growing alarm. I think everyone should be alarmed at the use of racist tropes to define America and to define the challenges that America has. I'm very much concerned about that situation.
Thank you. Brother Gilliland, I think that your people of your faith have gone through this too. What do you think about what's happening right now?
Yes, it's very similar as to what has happened to our people in the past. We have had people who, when our church was in the 1800s, when our church was proselyting people in Europe and other places, and people were immigrating to be with the church members in Utah in the United States. The federal government came out with laws against immigration of Latter-day Saints coming to the country, and tried to prevent it. They didn't. They weren't very successful at it, but they very similar to what President Trump and others are trying to do to prevent Muslims from coming to the United States today. So we feel very strongly about this, and we've felt the pain of rejection and of people, terrorism and other problems that we've had from people who are bigoted and biased, such as the Islamophobic people today. So we're behind. That's why we feel so strongly and are so supportive of the Muslim people.
I appreciate that. So, Salam, I think that you have a president candidate at your Southern California Islamic Center, and last Saturday we had Congressman KIRN and presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard at the Iman Center. What do you think that the Muslim community should be involved in preventing Islamophobia, and what is the decision of the impact in this, or the role of the impact in this area?
Well, I think that what has to happen is we as Muslims have to educate other Americans about anti-Muslim tropes that you find too often in the media. In the media alone, they allow for a lot of the stereotyping, scapegoating of Islam and Muslims when they talk about issues like Sharia law, and they say that America should be against Sharia law without even understanding what the term Sharia means. Sharia simply means the way of God, and the way of God, according to the Quran, is the way of justice and the way of mercy and compassion. It's not about the actual law of Saudi Arabia or of Iran or now the Sultan of Brunei per se. Those are laws that are determined by the political situation of those countries, and we have to educate people on the separation of what God wants through the Quran and what people are doing in those countries, which, by the way, is a big reason why we don't live there. We live here in America where we're free to worship our religion and to think for ourselves, as opposed to having sheikhs and mullahs and military people tell us how to think about our religion. So I think we have to educate people about the anti-Muslim tropes in the media. The other problem is when they say that Islam is not a real religion, it's a cult. We have to educate others on how to push back against that problem. So that's the one area. The second area is to work with others on the common front of xenophobia. Xenophobia is not just targeting Muslims. It's targeting, as Chaim Beliak said, it's targeting the Jewish community. What happened in Pittsburgh? What happened in Charleston with African Americans? What happens at the borders with many people fleeing persecution from Latin America and trying to come here? What happened in Quebec? The mosque that was attacked in Quebec just a few years ago. What happened even in Oak Creek against the Sikh American community? Sikh Americans have the largest number of murders against their community after 9/11. The largest number of hate crimes that lead to homicides after 9/11. So it's not just a Muslim problem. It's really a problem for all of us. It's an American problem. And I think we have to start talking about it more candidly as Americans.
2 of our church buildings were torched, were set on fire near Christchurch, New Zealand, about a week before the attack on the mosque. They don't know who did it, but we feel the same type of hateful attitude, and that's why we need to lock arms with our brothers and sisters in Islam and with our Jewish friends and our fellow Christian friends.
Exactly.
Rabbi Beliak, I remember the day before the Pittsburgh massacre, we were joining the Jewish friend in the Santa Monica synagogue for the Sabbath. And the day after what happened, it made me really wonder that, and there was no security in the Santa Monica synagogue, and I really don't know how the people of the community feel after what happened in the Pittsburgh and other like a mosque and synagogue, and even the churches, as the Salam said, that there were massacres in all 3 groups. What prevention they have to consider there?
Well, yes, indeed, we were together for a visit sponsored by the State Department of Jews, Muslims, Christians from various places around the world. And it was indeed a very joyous gathering, celebrating the Sabbath together and sharing a Sabbath meal. And then, of course, the next morning, we had the terrible news of the Pittsburgh massacre in the Eitz Chaim synagogue, the Tree of Life synagogue. Indeed, most synagogues in America have traditionally not had security of the sort that you see in all synagogues in Europe, with the exception of Poland. In every synagogue in Europe, England, Paris, you cannot just go because you remember that it's the Sabbath and you want to pray, but you actually have to call ahead if you're not known to the community and get permission, and you have to bring a passport to prove that you are the person that called. So there is tight security in Europe, and in the life of many congregations since Pittsburgh, there are increased vigilance, trying to be sure that the security is foremost in the minds of people when they come to synagogue. Today, if you go to most synagogues at the parking lot where you would park your car, there is already someone sometimes searching vehicles, even asking who you're there to see, et cetera. This kind of vigilance is something new to the American Jewish community. And I think we sort of need to accept the fact that this will be a part of the world for many parts of the world. The free access that we once enjoyed to our synagogues, to our mosques, and so forth is being challenged by the fact that people with weapons are not afraid to use them. And here I think one of the things I would be wanting to point to is that in addition to the concern for xenophobia and hate, which of course we must address, we must also address, especially in this country, the whole problem of an armed society that allows military-style weapons to be in the hands of people. The amount of automatic rifles and semi-automatic rifles that are available. The one person walking into 2 mosques was able to kill 50 people in New Zealand, as you said at the top of the hour. What's significant about New Zealand is that there was an immediate response by the leadership of the community. There was no temporizing. There was simply the acknowledgement that this is a problem, and there was the attempt by the leadership to lead by outlawing firearms. And I wish that we had the kind of leadership in our country that recognized this problem.
Okay, we take a break for a few minutes, and please stay on your phone. We continue conversation because before we go back on there.
من گیتا صرافان، مشاور وام شما. اگر تصمیم به خرید خانه را دارید و نمیدانید از کجا شروع کنید، اگر به فکر عوض کردن وام منزلتان هستید ولی نمیدانید چه نوع وامی مناسب شماست، با من تماس بگیرید. مطمئنم 28 سال تجربه و صداقت من راه شما را همراه خواهد کرد. تلفن تماس 818 907 8158 818 907 8158. گیتا صرافان.
تو چرا انقدر تونتون ماشین عوض میکنی؟
نه، این ماشین رنتاله. مثلا ماشین نو خریدم. تا حالا چند بار برای یه مشکل بردمش دیلر، هنوز درست نشده.
اوه، تو میتونی دیلر و کمپانیای اتومبیل رو قانونا مجبور کنی ماشین تو ازت بخرن و بیشتر پولتو بهت پس بدن؟
چطور؟
با استفاده از قانون لمنلا و وکیلی که متخصص این کار باشه.
مثل کی؟
پیام شاهیان.
پیام شاهیان، وکیل متخصص لمنلا از دفاتر Strategic Legal Practices، آماده پیگیری مشکل تکراری اتومبیل شما و دفاع از حق قانونیتان است. قانون لمنلا در مورد اتومبیل‌هایی که لیست یا خریداری شده باشند صدق می‌کند و اگر دیلرها بعد از 3 یا 4 بار قادر به برطرف کردن نقص اتومبیل شما نباشند، توصیه می‌شود بلافاصله برای دریافت مشاوره رایگان با دفتر حقوقی پیام شاهیان تماس بگیرید. 310 277 1040 310 277 1040 عضو 08. Strategic Legal Practices واقع در 1840 Century Park East سویت 430 LA کالیفرنیا 967. مسئول این آگهی است. شخصیت‌ها نمایشی هستند. به به، دوغ بیبلوس. هیچ چیز دوغ بیبلوس نمیشه. یادتونه قدیما تو تهران میرفتید فرهزاد و درکه، کنار کوه پای تخت لب چشمه میشستید و چلو کباب سفارش میدادید؟ چلو کباب بهتون نمیچسبید تا اون دوغ محلی و طبیعی رو باهاش نوش جان نمیکردید. انگار تمام عطر و بوی طبیعت توی اون دوغ سالم و خوش‌طعم و کاملا طبیعی جای داده شده بود. الان هم توی لس آنجلس هیچ چیز طعم دوغ بیبلوس رو نداره، چون همه دوغ از شیر و ماست طبیعی و بدون هورمون و مواد افزودنی تهیه میشه. نوشته‌های پشت بطری دوغ بیبلوس رو بخونید، دوغ‌های دیگر رو هم بخونید تا متوجه بشید.
دوغ بیبلوس تنها دوغیه که شما رو یاد دوغ‌های خانگی ایران میندازه. دوغ بیبلوس در 4 سایز 16، 32، 64 اونسی و 1 گالونی. You tried the rest, now try the best. فروش در کلیه فروشگاه‌های ایرانی. ارائه دیگر از شرکت کراجیان.
آیا برای بازنشستگی آماده اید؟ آیا خودتان را برای پایین رفتن ناگهانی استاک مارکت در آینده محافظت کردید؟ آیا اطلاعات کافی در مورد انویتی‌های مختلف دارید؟ اگر شما 50 سال به بالا دارید، برای مشاوره مالی رایگان با من، دیوید کنانی، Independent Financial Fiduciary تماس بگیرید. 877-829-9227 877 829 9227.
چنانچه راننده اوبر و یا لیفت هستید، از عضویت رایگان کارت رایدشر ویژه دفاتر پیام شایانی به نفع خود استفاده کنید. به دلیل استقبال و تعدد مراجعه رانندگان اوبر و لیفت، حال دفاتر پیام شایانی دارای رکورد در دریافت بالاترین خسارت در پرونده‌های اوبر و لیفت به عنوان پیشرو و اولین دفتر حقوقی تصادفات برای مدتی محدود کارت عضویت رایگان ارائه می‌کند. رانندگان اوبر و لیفت با عضویت و دریافت ممبرشیپ رایگان کارت رایدشر در دفاتر پیام شایانی مزایای مخصوصی را چون رنتکار رایگان به همراه کمک‌های مالی از سوی بانک‌ها در صورت واجد شرایطی دریافت خواهند داشت. جهت دریافت کارت عضویت رایگان رایدشر با دفاتر پیام شایانی تماس بگیرید. 818 777 77 77.
چه خونه قشنگی. این خونه زمین تا آسمون فرق کرده.
خب دیگه شانس هم زده با یه مهندس ساختمون کاربلد آشنا شدم و همه کارهای ریمادلینگ و ادیشن رو با یه تیم واردی که داشت به خوبی انجام دادم.
چقدر عالی. راستی گاراژو چیکار کردی؟
گفتم که این مهندس بارانی خیلی تو کارش وارده. تو بازدید اول خونه خودش پیشنهاد داد که بیا گاراژ رو تبدیل به مسکونی کن، بعد هم اونو به یه یونیت جدا تبدیل کرد.
حتما کلی هم طول کشید.
نه اتفاقا طبق همون قول و قرار اولمون کار رو خیلی به موقع تحویل داد.
چه کار خوبی کردی. من که خونم کلی به خرج افتاده، میخوام بفروشمش.
میدونی که مهندس بارانی ریل استیت بروکر هم هست که میتونه خونت رو به بهترین نحو برای فروش آماده کنه و بفروشه.
مهندس محمد بارانی، انجام کلیه امور ساختمانسازی و فروش. 310 902 5248 310 902 5248 عضو 08 و 5050 100. مهندس بارانی، جنرال کانترکتر و ریل استیت بروکر. لایسنس نامبر 11764.
ببخشید
با منید؟
ممکنه به این سوال من جواب بدین؟
بفرمایید.
کدام اعداد مهمترین ارقام زندگی شما هستن؟
تاریخ ازدواجم.
مهمترین ارقام زندگی شما چیه؟
شماره سوشالم.
کدوم اعداد مهمترین ارقام زندگیتونن؟
موجودی حساب بانکیم.
اشتباه می‌کنید. 3 رقم جادویی کردیت اسکور مهمترین عدد زندگی شماست و شماره تلفن 818 2 میلیون راهی برای رسیدن به کردیت رویایی شما. مانی حاتمی، نامی آشنا در افزایش کردیت اسکور. آرش زاد، نامی آشنا در کاهش بدهی‌های مالی شما. 2 نام، 2 تخصص، 1 اعتبار برای ارتقاء مهمترین عدد زندگی شما. شرکت زنیت با مدیریت مانی حاتمی و آرش زاد، تخصصی ترین شرکت کردیت ریپر در جامعه ایران. تماس با شماره 818 2 میلیون 818 2 بقیه‌اش صفر.
کردیت برتر، بدهی کمتر با قانون. 818 2 میلیون.
سلام، دکتر نجفی هستم. در مطب من آخرین گزینه‌ها و تمهیدات زیبایی پیش روی شما قرار می‌گیرد. تمام جراحی‌های زیبایی صورت و بدن در پیشرفته‌ترین مرکز جراحی انجام می‌شود و همچنین بسیار خوشبختم که آخرین تکنولوژی زیبایی صورت و بدن را بدون برش جراحی خدمتتون تقدیم کنم. این تکنولوژی فیس تایت و بادی تایت نام دارد و به تازگی در امریکا مورد تایید FDA قرار گرفته است.
دکتر نجفی، جراح پلاستیک و زیبایی. 310 514 2511.
Warnings from U.S. business leaders that there will be dire economic consequences if the president carries through on a threat to close the southern border this week. Here's correspondent Christine Romans.
An economic calamity. That's what the Chamber of Commerce says would happen if President Trump shuts the border with Mexico. Now, the Chamber says it would tank the markets and hurt the U.S. economy, even if this were just a short closure.
The British Parliament will vote on 3 more Brexit plans this week, including one option to hold another referendum to confirm the first vote. The U.S. is halting delivery to Turkey of equipment for the stealth F-35 fighter jet, a move that comes after Turkey agreed to purchase a Russian missile defense system. Government's Highway Safety Agency is opening 2 new investigations into fires involving Hyundai and Kia vehicles after getting complaints of more than 3,000 fires and more than 100 injuries. The Dow up near 300 points. I'm Mike.
You're listening to Radio Iran.
It's a revolution.
Radio Iran. KIRN. Radio Iran. Radio Iran.
همبستگی با ادیان
با دکتر صادق نمازی خواه.
Okay, thank you for being patient with us with the advertiser support of radio. Anyway, now we are going back online. My question goes to the brother Gilliland. You mentioned that in New Zealand 2 of your churches were burned, and still you don't know what caused that. But what is the impression that the church is getting from that fire?
I think it basically the members feel much like the Muslims have felt, that worry and concern about the lack of security. I assume they'll be doing that, but they've thrown themselves behind the support of the Muslim people, the church leaders. Let me just read you just a brief statement that they made in the area there. We have the responsibility to administer to our Muslim brothers and sisters in the Christchurch stake. That's the area around Christchurch. We are inviting every member to reach out with sensitivity in your workplace, school, and communities to find out what support is needed for our brothers and sisters, and to actively offer assistance where you can, or alert any needs to your ward members. The ward is a local congregation. As well as this, we ask every member to pray for those affected by this tragedy in their homes and in their wards. That's the religious community. In our prayers, on their behalf, we should seek for wisdom in helping those affected and our community. Let me just share with you an incident that happened on the Friday after the tragedy. Up in Orem, Utah, one of the church members sent out a social media, said, "How amazing would it be if our Muslim brothers and sisters walked out of their prayer service today with heavy hearts and found themselves surrounded with love and solidarity from the rest of us. Please show up for a flash mob of solidarity today at 2 o'clock in Orem." That was at the masjid where they showed up. People showed up with flowers, with little signs, and as the Muslims came out of their Friday prayers, they were surrounded by people in their community expressing support and love.
That's very nice. Saddam, when the New Zealand mosque happened, we had a lot of support from our community, our neighbors at Iman. There were tens of the flowers that they brought to the Iman Center, and a lot of support cards I received from the neighbors. And particularly, I had two very interesting and nice postcards from two young 7 and 9-year-old Jewish child that they said, the card says that we love you to be here and we support you. And I see that we have more support from the member of the community. And what is happening right now, I think the people have more understanding about what's going on, particularly the people who are affected by this issue. But now you mentioned educating the community, but in the larger, action, what do you think about the Muslim community's duty to be more involved in political area and supporting the candidates?
Well, I think there are two answers to that, Dr. Namazka. I think number one, we have to see ourselves as part of the larger society in dealing with this threat. It's not just about Muslims. And as you said, there are more people in support of Muslims than there are against Muslims. There are more people promoting love and tolerance and coexistence and pluralism who believe in that than those who believe in nationalism and xenophobia and extremism, using religion in a racialized way. So there's more good than bad, and we as communities have to learn how to leverage the good to make that the reality in public opinion, as opposed to only showing the bad news, only showing the hate, only showing the conflicts that makes you think that that's all there is. Yes, there's that threat and there's that danger, but we have to give voice to humanity, to what America really is about. We had the press conference right on the day of the New Zealand attacks. There were 100 people of all colors and religions and backgrounds, and this is the beauty of God's creation.
The room was filled, and out the hall, it was overflowing of people of all faiths and races that came together to support the Muslim people.
That's wonderful. Exactly. And that's what we have to show. We have to show that humanity, that truth. And as the Quran says, truth will overcome falsehood like the scum on top of the river will float away, whereas that which benefits humanity will remain on earth. So we have to have that belief in the goodness. The second thing then is we have to, as a community, and I don't mean Muslim community, I mean all of us, as the American people, we have to hold our political leaders accountable to endorsing and amplifying hate rhetoric. There's a story, and I'm not sure, I need to check on the statistics, that is saying that every time President Trump holds a rally, then hate incidents in that area increases by over 200%. So this rhetoric has real consequences, and people are free to say what they want, but they should also be responsible and accountable for the consequences of that hate speech. And I think we should all of us, Mormon, Catholic, Protestant, Jew, Muslim, Hindu, Buddhist, all of us should get together, unite, and be that force to hold our elected officials accountable.
One of the attempts of these Islamophobes is to cause Muslims and other people to pull within their own groups and be afraid to be out in the world. A few years ago, there was a defacing of a display down in Orange County by one of the mosques, and they called a meeting to discuss this, and the youth were there because the youth were part of this. And they asked me to be one of the speakers, and my thoughts were, please don't pull inside yourself. Let people know who Muslims are. Make friends. Reach out. To know a Muslim is to love a Muslim. And that's one of the solutions to the problem, is that the people of Islam reach out into the community and help the Christians and the Jewish people and of other faiths to know them. And that will overcome this Islamophobia, because once you know someone and you see what good people they are, you don't believe that stuff. You reject the Islamophobic stuff.
Thank you. Rabbi Beliak, I think that we had this kind of the massacre in the previous administration, but mostly was in the college and the schools and the elementary schools, but they were not hate-related. How do you compare this kind of the actions in this administration and the previous administration?
It's clear that as Salam al-Mayati has already indicated, that our president does not seek to bring us together when we face these terrible things. Rather, he speaks to the small group of people who, for one reason or another, are justifying the murder of people, who are celebrating the murder of innocents at prayer. And there, we, on the side that are always concerned about opening our hearts and being supportive of each other, have yet to reckon with what it means that there are significant numbers of people in our society that are encouraged by the rhetoric not only of President Trump, but others of his perspective who see the possibility of creating opportunities for division and hate as somehow speaking to a sense of loss, injustice, displacement. And yes, this administration has specialized in attempting to fan the hate wherever it can. One of its earliest architects, Mr. Bannon, visits Poland, Hungary, seeking to create right-wing white nationalist groups. And this is an ongoing thing that is part of the American scene as well. I don't know that we are really addressing this. I think sometimes we just see these events happening and then we say, oh, we're terribly sorry. I don't see any leadership on the national scene from the administration.
Appreciate that. Brother Gilliland.
Yes.
What do you think about the changes that are happening between the previous and the present administration?
Well, I feel that one of Trump's tactics, political tactics, is to divide people and to cause people to hate people who are different from them. And he speaks to those groups. He encourages those groups to, and that's why we see it happening, as Salam said, at a larger percentage after his rallies, after his tweaks. I feel as a person of faith, I believe this is evil. And I believe that there's a dark, evil spirit of hate that these people are trying to benefit from. And you can't fight evil with other evil. We need to stand up and be a light. But we can speak out against this. And I think that's the previous administrations have always been very cautious to try to build unity in our country. President Trump is basically trying to divide and conquer.
Okay. Is your church by any chance considering securities or applying more security in your churches, or the business is as usual?
It's right at this point, it's business as usual. We do have incidents that occasionally happen, but we're quite well accepted in our communities. And we try to reach out into the communities and let people get to know us. And that has been very successful and a real blessing. It's been a real blessing in my life, my wife and I both, to be serving with the Muslim community over the last 14 years. We've been in people's homes and in mosques, and some people said we go to more Muslim events than some of the Muslims do. But we love it. But we've never heard anyone say anything that was hateful or treasonous or anything of that nature in our masjids as we visit and in the homes as we visit. These are wonderful citizens of the United States, wonderful human beings.
Okay, thank you. Salam, I have said that a few times, and a lot of time actually, that the MPAC is the most important organization that I believe in the Muslim community. And you have the leadership role among the other Muslim locations. But do you think that in the future we might need to apply to the same security system that our Jewish friends are doing in their synagogues?
That's exactly what we talked about this morning at our conference of staff between our Washington office and our D.C. office, Dr. Namazika. We said that, number one, we have to learn from our Jewish partners on securing houses of worship. We don't have an infrastructure like there is. I believe there's a Jewish security network of all synagogues that share information on hate incidents and threats. And it's connected to the portal with a number of law enforcement agencies that are tracking the same information. There's even the Christian Emergency Network that does the same thing. We don't have anything comparable for Muslims. And number two, we don't have the ability to get the same federal funding that a number of our Jewish partners and Christian partners get through FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency that provides funding for enhancing security for houses of worship. And we're going to be talking about that with our policymakers. And I think everybody, including Iman, should be writing their members of Congress and saying, how can our mosques get the same opportunity for federal funding enhancing our security? Because let's face it, one guy standing out in a parking lot is not enough security these days. We have to be ramping it up, and we have to also, in addition to the law enforcement security, we have to build human security. And this is what you're doing, Dr. Namazka, as an example that we want all the mosques, and that is bring the people from the larger community into the mosque. Like our prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, he had Christians, he had Jews, he had people from all tribes in the mosque. The mosque became the city hall for his community. And the mosques today should be the same thing. It should be the community center for the larger society. Anything and everything should be discussed. And then we will have more stakeholders in our mosques, and that will enhance the security by the covenant that we make to one another to protect each other and to protect synagogue, church, mosque, and temple as a part of our obligation in serving God.
I want to thank you all for...
Dr. Namazka has been an example in Southern California of bringing people of all faiths into the mosque, and we thank him for the blessing he is to us.
I appreciate that.
Indeed, indeed.
I want to thank all three of you, and I'm sure that you remember the last Sunday of the month of Ramadan, you will be at Iman for the Interfaith Festival of Unity. I will send you an email. Save the date. I don't want to accept salam. I don't accept any excuses.
Sure.
Okay. I wish you all the best and have a wonderful day.
We break fast at sunset.
Okay, I have a date for you on the head table. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
دوستان عزیز، این بود برنامه امروز ما و خوشحالم که دوستانی رو در تلفن داشتم که واقعا کامیتمنت دارن به این مسئله اینترفیت و همبستگی ادیان، و این هدف من هست از این برنامه که ما بیشتر هم دیگر رو بشناسیم، کمتر ایگنورنس داشته باشیم، کمتر از هم فاصله بگیریم، و موقعی که بیشتر بدونیم بهتر میتونیم با هم همبستگی داشته باشیم. من همیشه گفتم که ملت ها صاحب خونه هستند و دولت ها مستاجر. دولت ها میان و میرن و ملت ها سر جاشون میمونن. اون چیزی که مسلمه وظیفه ماست. همونطوری که ما این کار کردیم، همین امپکت و مرکز اسلامی ساتن کالیفرنیا این کار کرد، آقای سندرز رو دعوت کرد، ما خانم کرن بس رو دعوت کردیم و خانم تولسی گبارد رو دعوت کردیم که کاندید رئیس جمهوری است. مسئله این نیست که اینها انتخاب بشن نشن، اون کمک ما به اینها و اومدن اونها به جامعه ما رو بهتر معرفی میکنه، حداقل به جامعه آمریکایی، و فرق نمیکنه ما ایرانی یهودی باشیم، مسلمان باشیم، بهایی باشیم، ایرانی مسیحی باشیم، ایرانی زرتشتی باشیم. باید یاد بگیریم که تو این جامعه باید پارتی از جامعه بزرگ باشیم و با همون روش زندگی کنیم. روزگار بر شما خوش. در ضمن 20 اپریل یک برنامه بسیار زیبایی داریم درباره نوروز در کشورهای مختلف در بنیاد ایمان که ورود برای همه آزاده. به امید دیدار همتون. خدا نگهدار.
همبستگی با ادیان.
با